In this video session, we will go into details of the teaching methodology used in Premier MBA programs in the best of business schools across the world. To understand the need of various teaching methods used, we need to first of all have an idea about the context of business education, criticism of MBA programs, and what are business schools doing to become better. The Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, established in 1881, was the first graduate school of business in the world. The first MBA program was started by the Harvard Graduate School of Business Administration in 1908. So MBA programs are more than a century old and have improved and become more effective over time. IIM Ahmedabad, established in 1961, was the first Indian business school. So what is really needed from an MBA program when it is designed? In general, MBA programs are structured around core subjects such as finance, marketing, accounting, human resources, strategy, systems, and operations management to develop a holistic business perspective, so that a fresh MBA graduate has a sense of how different components of a corporate fit with each other and with the world. The subject knowledge can be developed on the job also, but would take a lot of time and would need a lot of career changes also. An MBA program helps in easily learning all of this in a bare 1 or 2 years. There are many positive attributes associated with students who have done MBAs from top business schools, such as superior intelligence, as demonstrated by the admissions hurdles they needed to clear. Willingness to invest in themselves, as shown by their pursuit of a graduate degree. Willingness to work long and hard, again is shown by their pursuing an MBA. High motivation, self-starters and self-confident, desirable blend of theoretical knowledge and practical experience, especially now that the top schools are making sure that their programs are a blend of the two. Strong analytical skills and a broader perspective, including an understanding of how the whole of the business fits together and functions. Strong communication and interpersonal skills. Ability to work well in teams, with a wide range of people. Willingness and ability to work under great time and performance pressures. MBA programs have faced a lot of criticism also. MBA programs are accused of putting too much of a focus on learning concepts and less on application. The mushrooming of business schools across the world has also brought down average standards in these new schools. The inability to predict and alleviate global recessions of 1975, 1982, 1991 and 2009, and the media raising questions about the value and content of business school programs after the financial crisis of 2007 to 2010 dented the image of business schools. It was found that in the financial crisis of 2007 to 2010, a lot of finance managers with fancy MBA degrees had compromised on compliance with rules and taken unethical steps. As finance professionals were widely seen as responsible for the global economic meltdown, anecdotal evidence suggests new graduates are choosing different career paths. An MBA with finance as the major had so far been the most sought after. Deans at top business schools have acknowledged that media and public perception of the MBA degree shifted as a result of the financial crisis. Articles have been written about public perceptions of the crisis, ranging from schools' acknowledgement of issues with the training students receive to criticisms of the MBA's role in society. The negative attributes associated with professional managers having MBAs from top schools include expectations of impractically large salaries and rapid promotions, lack of loyalty to a company, being devoted instead to their own careers, in sum, being a prima donna. Some go through an MBA just to get their ticket punched, example consultants, and many engineers just find an MBA as the next logical step. The B schools and MBA programs have responded positively to the criticism leveled against them. Now, MBA programs strike a balance between imparting knowledge of core subjects along with soft skills and ethics, by giving more importance to soft skills and ethics. Wherever appropriate, MBA programs now use available advanced technology and blended teaching methods. The greatest improvement has been in applying the concepts of subjects by using a lot of teachers who have come from the corporate world or making the teachers do long stints in the corporate world. Business schools are now better integrated with the recruiting corporates who visit the schools for placements. B schools are not only anticipating which profiles of students would be needed at the time of placements and admitting students according to need, but are also giving the recruiting corporates a major say in designing of academic courses. Today's premier business schools use a mix of 5 methods to train students during an MBA program. 1. Lecture method. 2. Case study. 3. Computer simulations. 4. In-company projects. And 5. Field immersion. We will look at each of these in detail. Lecture method is the first method of teaching during an MBA program and also comprises the biggest chunk of teaching during an MBA. In this classical teaching method, the teacher gives long-drawn lectures and the students listen and take extensive notes. Students generally participate in the process, only infrequently, when they can understand that they have not understood something. The teachers, and not all of them, take a few steps to make this method more beneficial. They can dictate what they consider important or give names of a few books that students can refer to for additional reading. Some teachers make the process more interactive or interesting by asking a few questions to force the drowsy students to pretend that they are alive and throbbing. Despite drawbacks, lecture method is best for teaching some subjects such as finance, operations, and accounting. The second method of teaching in B schools is by the case study method. It was devised and has been used by the Harvard Business School since its founding in 1908. The case method has proven its ability to develop the elusive holistic business perspective that all B schools claim to inculcate. When the Harvard Business School was started, the faculty quickly realized that there were no textbooks suitable for a graduate program in business. Their first solution to this problem was to interview leading practitioners of business and to write detailed accounts of what these managers were doing. What worked for the successful managers and what didn't. Based on these inputs, the faculty members wrote cases which contained a problem or a situation faced by a company along with information about the products, sectors and players in the company. After students had read the case, they were supposed to discuss how they would solve the problem. As students come from different backgrounds and have different perspectives, so different students gave different solutions for the same problem. The learning for the students was that they got exposure of different ways to solve the same problem. Students developed the ability to look at the same problem with different perception and chose the best solution. Cases are generally written by business school faculty with particular learning objectives in mind and are refined in the classroom before publication. Cases are often accompanied with additional relevant documentation such as financial statements, timelines, and short biographies, often referred to in the case as exhibits. Multimedia supplements such as video recordings of interviews with the case protagonist. And a carefully crafted teaching note. Pristine case studies start with reading a case, which is a write-up of a real or hypothetical situation at a company or other organization, and determining what one or another of the participants is best advised to do and why. Complicated cases can require scores of pages of background reading and many exhibits. The exhibits may describe the cost of components used in products at various production sites, the company's financial results over the last couple of years, profile of the protagonists, operational bottlenecks, financial constraints, etc. Students are expected to analyze the case from the perspective of what would be best for the company, for one or more departments, and for one or more individuals, and determine how best the various options could or should be realized. This involves a great deal of analysis, much of it of a what-if variety. What if we transferred all our truck manufacturing to our Venezuela plant, shut the Scottish facility, have a tie-up with a Chinese concern to penetrate the Chinese market and exit the French market which has high labor and tax cost? Would this make sense? What are the likely production, marketing, operational, organizational, and, ultimately, financial effects of this policy? Class participation is so important to the learning model at HBS that 50% of a student's grade in many courses is based on the quality of class participation. This requires students and faculty to work closely together. This method is good at teaching students how to structure the analysis of complex problems, set forth options showing what they plan to do, and sell the chosen option to a group of doubting, difficult peers. In this learning method, students also get exposed to the different ways of solving the same problem by their peers who have different perspectives. The bright side of the case method is that B-School students during MBA get a chance at cracking the problems that they will not be exposed to till they reach a senior level of management. This helps in developing a macro or big picture perspective at an earlier stage of career. The idea appeals to the recruiting corporate as well, as they can get managers who can hit the ground running. The drawback to it is that it is not suited to learning basic, technical disciplines such as finance, operations, and accounting, which are more easily learned by attending lectures, reading structured textbooks and doing relevant exercises. The following points are generally made in favor of the case method. It is realistic in simulating the real world, rather than just theorizing about it. It compresses many career experiences into a short period of time. It encourages peer learning and students benefit from the perspective of others. B-Schools rich in student diversity can exploit this better. It fosters high involvement on the part of students. The nature of the case method requires active class participation, and thus develops presentation skills and the ability to think on one's feet. It thereby helps build confidence in oneself. The case, and its lessons, are highly memorable and thus of value when one encounters a related problem in the future. Students have the chance to see what people in different jobs and industries actually do. The overabundance of material forces students to develop efficient time management techniques and to learn to choose what analysis to do and what to skip. Students get a clear idea about the relevance of the knowledge they are picking up at the B-School. They learn to research, prioritize, imbibe and apply the knowledge. It encourages students to think like general managers, examining a problem from an overall, big-picture perspective. The following are among the points made against the case method. It is inefficient for teaching theory that underlies the material. It tends to overlook the human side of management. It encourages ultra-competitive behavior in the fight for class airtime, a particularly important problem for the reserved and for those whose English is not truly fluent. The packaged information in the cases obviates the need for students to go out and find or develop their own data. The general management perspective that students tend to adopt for case analyses results in their not being prepared to work at a lower level when they graduate. A consensus view appears to be that a substantial use of cases, especially to teach advanced marketing, strategy, finance, and organizational development, is highly desirable. For one thing, the drawbacks of the method are minimized in those settings. For another, at least some use of it helps develop the ability to mine cases for the most relevant information, package it quickly, and respond to wide-ranging questions in a coherent and powerful manner. In addition, the advent of multimedia cases has breathed new life into the method. Having interviews with key decision-makers, facility tours, and the like available for viewing enlivens and enriches the case experience. The biggest criticism of the case method is that the individuals and professional organizations which prepare cases for B-Schools normally are under pressure to provide cases with more data and analytics to jack up the price of cases. In real world, to the contrary, managers have to take decisions based on less information. So cases may be dumbing down the real situation, even if the intentions are right. GSB, Columbia has taken a step in the right direction by providing students with cases having less information to base decisions on. This lead by Columbia is catching up and a new creed has developed. Kids learn better when learning is a game. A relatively new teaching method is something akin to a computer game or a computer simulation, in which students can run a company, act as head of a department, or organize a worldwide survey and get quick feedback about the appropriateness of their decisions from the results of the game. Team competitions, in which students are divided into teams of 4 to 6, are common, especially for the, often required, business strategy course. Teams feed their decisions about a host of variables into the computer at set times. The outcomes of the competition depend not on what has happened in the industry in the past, but on what the respective teams have chosen to do. For example, if nearly every team decides to boost volume, cut price, and push for as much market share as possible, the winner might be the team that has decided to focus on a high price, high quality, and thus low volume niche that it alone will occupy. It makes sense for some disciplines but not in others. Placement departments, after developing good ties with corporates, often hook up positions in projects at the recruiting corporates. In-company projects, long been used in Europe, are now common across the world now. Students get a chance to put into practice their newly acquired skills in a real company. Good projects require that students tackle suitably important issues, not just make work or trivial problems. The usual problem is not student dissatisfaction with projects, but finding enough companies willing to hand large projects over to students. From the company perspective, such projects require getting students up to speed on their company and industry, and then sharing confidential data with them, as well as soothing the employees who would otherwise have had their own chances to make a mark with the same project. Not surprisingly, most schools suffer from a dearth of ideal projects. The exceptions tend to be the most prestigious schools that are also located close to the headquarters of numerous major companies. Field immersion experience involves delivering in a group project in an unfamiliar environment and with peers from a different culture they have never worked with before. Most global business schools are striving towards a single objective: to take students out of their comfort zone and place them in a position where they have to act and make decisions, rather than learn theoretical aspects, as in lecture method, or discuss theory, as in the case approach. Business is conducted in a global arena and leaders are expected to have a global perspective. In order to be effective, global managers have to be as comfortable in Mumbai as they are in Mombasa or Manhattan. Since 2011, Harvard Business School has started an innovative learning methodology called Field Immersion Experiences for Leadership Development. During field immersion, global intelligence of students is increased by making them lead in a global setting, in a place they have never been in before. The HBS Field is a required first-year course that spans a full academic year. One of the modules under this takes place in 14 different emerging market countries and provides a clear shift from location-specific topics to a more global experience-oriented field. The University of Chicago Booth Business School sends about 300 students on 25 international trips. London Business School in April 2013 sent 71 second-year MBA students to Mumbai to soak in the business culture of India's financial capital and learn from Farhan Akhtar the intricacies of the multi-billion-dollar Bollywood industry and its impact on the nation. As a follow-up to this session, try to understand the teaching methodologies and their balance in your dream B schools. Then decide whether you want to go to a particular B school with a certain balance of teaching methodologies. Finally, tailor your B school essays according to the efficacy of the B school and your chances of selection by the B school will become brighter. You can check our website for more information, www.ivyleague.us.com. If this video session raised any questions or doubts, then you can send your queries to us at mail@ivyleague.us.com. We will be happy to answer any queries you may have. Thanks for watching this video session. Please subscribe to our channel if you like this session.